Hello, everyone, and welcome to Intuitive Clarifications with Natasha. And Regan is finally here.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have him here. And, it's been a journey. This whole month has been a whole journey of ins and outs, ups and downs. And I don't know if boy, I'm just kind of worn out and wrung out. I feel like sometimes a wrung out wash rag, through what I've been dealing with and what's been thrown to me. And I'm just can imagine what everybody else is like feeling. And I just want everybody to know that I'm along for the ride here. And now we're gonna go. There's a couple planets in retrograde, and we're gonna go Mercury in retrograde. We're starting that process. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. Hi, Paula. Um, and so it's we're all in the moment of going forward. And who are we, what are we, uh yeah, it's crazy lately. Paula says, and what are we doing with it? And so that's why we wanted to bring a little bit of joy in this show, because sometimes it's hard to find joy in the midst of a lot of this. Wow, that sure happened, didn't it? So Paula says hi, Regan, and Natasha.
Yeah, it's nice to have. Well, she was here right as we start. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. I think your show is nice because you develop an audience, and it's just like people that either know you or past clients or things, or people that don't. After a while, they kind of feel that they know you,
Mm-hmm.
and it gets to be like family. And so many people are wanting to talk about real things instead of just the weather or politics or whatever. And so it's nice just to have a chat, talk about things. And I was going to make a note before I forgot here. I think that'll segue into something else about today we want to talk about uh, you know choosing joy on your journey.
Mm-hmm.
Um, about goal setting, and then is getting to your goal. Sometimes people are bitching and moaning the whole day because it's hard, but they have this goal, but there's work to do. So how do you keep a positive attitude? Because that's what I think God's intention for us to learn is to, no matter what happens, whether considered positive or negative, but to have a joyful spirit. Than we're going through. Um,
Well, I
and
know for me that sometimes when we hold that more, I don't want to call it a higher vibration, but a cleaner vibration of joyfulness, or I can do it, or that more, upper, that it's not down in the mud feeling. It's more higher frequency, that actually the universe is more in alignment for us to do things.
yeah,
And I know for me that's been an amazing, when I've noticed that difference, instead of the drudgery of doing it, to, even me turning on music when I'm cleaning a house can change my whole vibrational knowing of life. So it's a thing. So there was a reason why you wanted to talk about this.
well, I heard, I don't know who it was, but it was on a Facebook thing, and it's one of these like kind of guru guys, or someone who's kind of got things kind of figured out. And when he said if you're not enjoying the journey to try reaching your goal, that something's out of line. He says that we should all try to find that joy every day towards our journey. And
Mhm.
a lot of people know that a lot of times when you get to your goal, there's an empty feeling. It's like they got there and it's like, wow, it's not like what I thought it was going to be, because the whole purpose of getting to there is what you learn along the way, of the journey. I was trying to think of a good analogy, but I just think of, like, if you're going to college and you're taking some majors that are very difficult, but they're difficult for a reason, because there's a lot of a lot of things you have to learn. There's a lot of things that you have to sometimes change paradigms in your mind. And there's a lot of homework to do. There's a lot of study time. There's, because I know so many times I've heard people complaining about, oh, I hate college, and I go, and then they get their degree and they're totally happy, but they didn't like the journey, So
Yeah.
I'm thinking, how can a person go through, like they're going through something, difficult, but at the same time have the attitude. For instance, you're in class, you got to sit through a 3-hour lecture or something, and you're half bored, and he's mentioning some stuff or whatever, and you learn a couple of things. There should be, you should, after you leave that class, you go, wow, I know 2 things I didn't know 3 hours ago. Like that's really great. And see that, like putting bricks in a wall that you're building. I just put a couple more bricks in there. Had to be 3 hours. I had to sit through it. But I found with myself, so many times when I've changed my attitude, I couldn't believe the miracles that would happen. You see, because when you get negative about something, you push away the help that's there for you.
Mhm.
In other words, God's willing to help you in so many ways, but we have to be receptive to that. We have to be in the proper, it's like a parent telling the kids, okay, just, go in the corner for a little bit until you can come back and talk to me respectfully.
Mhm.
You can talk to me without yelling and screaming and telling me how much you hate me and all that stuff. So you come back and do that, then we can do that. When the child goes and calms down and comes back, they can have a meaningful conversation and they can get somewhere, that way. But
Yeah,
I just
and
know, yeah,
well,
go
and
ahead.
that's what I find that it's like, I've gone through some really, it's like I felt like Shiva's energy has been around. And I was in destruction mode, things breaking down so I can rebuild them. And it was interesting how even me sitting in gratitude in the middle of a big ouch, in the middle of the big ouch, and I said, I'm grateful for this moment. It took me out of victimhood and put me into the application. And that's the
Yeah,
way that, it's like even me talking about, how to communicate better or how to do this or how to do that. And that lesson was pretty impactful that, and I was so grateful for that moment because it was one of those things that I can pivot off and learn from and then set me up for my greater journey of my goals to accomplish because I was in the middle of gratitude for it.
yeah.
Can you do this to your camera? Can you reset your camera for me, please? It's been kind of fuzzy.
Is it going fuzzy? Okay. Let me do this and then this. Is that better?
A little bit. Yeah.
Like I'm seeing myself there now.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, so it is, it's just like what you just did was resetting the camera. Sometimes we have to reset our focus on what's doing because even me having the goal of cleaning the house, it's like I was talking with a friend and we were supposed to get together. Hi, Veronica. We were
Hey,
talking. We were supposed to get together, but instead he had something that he had accomplished by the 31st, and he's been putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. And we were talking and we are just having, and I pulled out papers and I was going through the filing cabinet, pulling out these old papers that were, my filing cabinet was getting pretty full. I needed to lighten it up. And so my goal of the day was just to get a management on these papers. He all of a sudden said, I'm done. I'm done with what I needed to do. And I said, well, guess what? I'm almost done too. So
yeah,
having that joyful conversation during that journey really, really got us up out of the drudgery of, oh, I got to sit in front of the computer and do this thing. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do that, or whatever that is that, so going into this, it's amazing when we can take a little bit of a different perspective, even if we can tweak it. Like that's one of my mantras is when I'm going through something hard, what is this here to teach me? So I stay out of victimhood. And a lot of us get into victimhood when we're trying to reach our goals.
yeah, yeah. We do. Sometimes. Um, and so actually, talking about journey, because I'm thinking about people have, goals to get to a certain thing, and I'm thinking of more grandiose goals, like someone putting themselves through college or something. It's going to be 4 years or 6 years to become a doctor or whatever it is, and all they have to do, and how hard it is sometimes. But now let's bring it down to just the little things, and now I know maybe why we're talking about this. Patty finally, she, someplace on TikTok or one of those things, and they were talking about how, the little things that you haven't taken care of in your life, the little tiny things, they add up after a while, and they drain your energy, so that, and may not know what it is, but it's dozens of little things, just little things that you've not taken care of, or whatever in your life, and they almost subconsciously pull a percentage of your energy down every day. So it was beautiful. She went through every room in the house and just looked at everything, and her eyes were like, oh my gosh, what are those cobwebs doing up there? And so she made this whole huge list for me to do of things. And she was able to point out everything, and I got to be the fixer. So my first thing was, I was like overwhelmed. I mean, I think I have probably 30 things on the list, and it's when you look up and there's some cords, coming out of the ceiling where something's plugged in really high up there, and there's more cords showing than, like if you bundle it up a little more, push a little here, it's not going to be showing as much,
Mm-hmm.
I never noticed before. At the end of when they put in our brand new cabinets in the kitchen, there's about a 2-inch space between the stove and that, where the molding is, just cut, and it just looks different than the other side. It's just 2-inch little thing, but when she realized that it's a little thing that kind of bugs her, like, why didn't that, that person who finished this out have something to finish off that little piece, still I'm going to fix that one,
But there again, okay, so let's look at your list of 30 things to do, because this is the journey of a day-to-day life, right? Yeah. This is the journey of the day. I'm walking through my house going, if I just spent 3 minutes to pick up those bags that are in that closet, and then the cat's getting older, so now I can bring the curtains down and kind of finish that energy. So what is it that you can just choose those 3 things that are of a likeness? Mm-hmm. Or those 5 things that are of a likeness. Okay, cobwebs in this room, this room, this room. So then you just circle all the cobwebs, and you get the cobwebs done.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say, because I've changed my attitude from the first thing going, oh, like this. My attitude now, I'm enjoying the heck out of this, because when you think about it, like I'm doing 2 or 3, I'm just picking 2 or 3 things a day on there to do, so it's not overwhelming that way. And I get those done. And when I cross them off the list, and then I found some things she didn't find that was been bugging me that I didn't realize. And one was like going into the back door from people coming in and out of the garage. They've gotten greasy hands on the door, and that nice white door needs to be cleaned. But I've seen it for months and months. And in my mind, every time I go by it, I go, need to clean that. And then I forget about it, until I see the door the next time. Oh, need to clean that someday, So it felt so good the other day when I just scrubbed the doors. I painted some of them. I painted 6 doors, I think. And now, and we're working as a team now, which is good to say. So in other words, we're saying together, hey, all these little things that are around here, you know what, if we take care of those, we're going to really feel really good about this house and this place that we're in, I've been, and I've been busy seeing clients and stuff and everything, but I've still managed to do 2 or 3 things a day. Like today, I'm working on, she has had a faucet that drips, and it just a drop, maybe every half minute, one little drop. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's been in there. And every time she sees that, this guy, God, I got to get this fixed, but it's just a drop of water every 30 minutes or something, So I got the stems in there today, and I'm trying to take one apart. And I don't really, my tool is not the best tool for it, and I'm stuck. But as God would say, our handyman happens to be come by for to run a 100-foot cable from the internet up to her son's place because he doesn't get very good internet up there, and he'll have the right tool. So when when he comes after our session today, he'll undo this one screw that I can't do, and I'll be able to fix the faucets. So good, you know. So, but it's also too, it's that importance of people realizing that when you don't take care of these little things, they draw even if it's 0.5% of your energy. Why? We need for to be joyful and happy and everything like this. Wouldn't it be great if we always had 100% of our energy so we could be happy and joyful and everything that way?
Yeah, exactly. And that's and that's what I find sometimes. If I can just spend 2 minutes putting something away right.
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong. I don't want to give people that, but there's like I'm one that I like putting like things with like things. And so if I spend that few minutes putting things together with the like thing, I'm finding that it's like, oh, and that even gives me joy. It's amazing where we can find these little moments of joyfulness because, I'm going to just name it, we can get so bogged down by even just getting out of bed.
Yeah.
We can really get bogged down by just getting out of bed. And, do I have to get up and go to work? Do I have to do this? And, I was down in California with my girlfriend, and like she says, to get up and go to the gym, no thoughts. This doesn't take any thoughts. Get out of bed, get dressed, get in the car, go. Doesn't take any thoughts. Just do it. Don't overthink it. This doesn't take any thoughts.
Yeah.
Just do it. And so by the time she gets there, then she's in conversation with people. And she meets up with friends. It's like this whole journey of finding joyfulness, but she has to start it out by saying, no thoughts. This doesn't take a thought. Why am I thinking this? There's no thoughts about this. And so sometimes we have to come in the back door to find that joyful moment that is in the middle of the journey. It's working out in the morning sometimes is not joyful, but it's the people that you meet if you're going to go to the gym.
Yeah. I mean, and this made me aware too. It's like when I needed a part for the sprinklers and they didn't have it locally here, and to get everything back together, I had to drive 40 minutes one way to get the part, 40 minutes back. So when I'm driving, I'm realizing I'm going, oh, I hate this. I'm having to drive. So that's an hour and a half of my time to get this one little part. But then in the same neighborhood is where I go golfing. So when I'm driving the 40 minutes to go golfing, I'm happy as can be, And I thought, okay, you need to change something here, Regan, and that why can't I be just as joyful getting that part as I am? So that shows you it's not the driving that's the problem. It's my attitude. It's not how I feel. So I've actually got on the bandwagon like earlier today. Everything's a mess in the garage. I think one of the things that's been bugging me. I have tools in 3 different places. I have tools in the house, I have tools in the storage unit, and I have tools in my car. And because I'm borrowing tools from this and getting it, and then I'm lazy and I don't put everything back where it goes, everything's, like I might have 20 screwdrivers in one place and none in another, So I'm taking all 3 things down, dumping everything out and resorting them so I have the proper, tools in each place. And then I just have to teach myself to not be so lazy to put them back in the right place, because otherwise it's going to get all messed up again. So that was kind of fun today. I still got probably an hour or 2 to do that, but I've got a lot of the piles of tools in places, and I'm putting the screwdrivers with screwdrivers and the wrenches with wrenches and all that. And then I can take things and divvy them up, and that's going to feel so good when that's done. It's like when people do spring cleaning. When you start purging, even like Patty was feeling really good because she finally decided to go through her closets last week, and she gave like 20 dresses away to like Goodwill or something, and she goes, these have been in here for 5-6 years. I never wear them. I'm thinner than that now. I'm not going back to that weight again. So I'm going to just, And she said, so then now she can move the things in her closet better. And it just feels good because she knows that's been on her mind to clean her closet for a long, long time. The thing about closets is, I think why they never get done is because they have doors on the closets. You know, it's like sweeping it under the rug. It's like, put it in the closet, don't have to think about it, you know. And then
Yeah.
pretty soon you open the closet door and stuff starts falling out. You have to take time to shove everything back in there again and get that damn door closed so you don't have to think about it.
Well,
You
I
know?
know that when I do, because I do feng shui, and I'm not a minimalist. I very much have my stuff around, but I find that if you look in my house, it's a surface mess more than it is behind the scenes. I do usually have things behind more organized. You can go to this area and see I
Yeah.
like things with like things. But at the same time though, like my filing cabinet, with all the papers, it was not a fun thing to go in and do that, but having that conversation. So I'd like, we have a couple people watching here. What are some of the things that you do to find joy through getting your journey done? It's, it's not because everybody has a different perspective. I like to turn on music or have a conversation with somebody or listen to a podcast or, doing stuff like that helps me negotiate moving forward, because like I watched this one video the other day about manifesting. Oh my gosh, I got so much energy from that. I rearranged my whole bedroom
Yeah.
almost. you know and so what we watch, what we interact with, what kind of music we listen to, what kind of things that were around, the people that were around, can really impact us for our vibration.
Hmm. Yeah, really can. I think because I've been learning mindfulness for years, and because of the spiritual work I do, I've been doing a lot better with realizing that I have a choice in my if I want to be happy or not. Like I have a choice whether I want to look at the glass half empty or half full.
Mhm.
And the more that I'm finding that like something of a negative nature happens, and I'm finding so much, like um, I was driving Patty's car, and this time it was not my fault, which was okay, but we ran out of gas. Like we just had left home. We're right on this huge, busy street where there's only one lane. So everybody behind us, well, they had to squeeze around beside right at rush hour. And the car, we couldn't get it to move. And so I was surprised at how quickly I just went, okay, we'll figure this out. No problem. And even though I'm having to get traffic to go by, and some people are honking and give me bad looks, and going by and everything, I said, we'll figure this out. And then I said, maybe God will send us an angel or something. So we're standing there trying to figure where's the closest gas station. Da 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 da. It's crazy like that. And all of a sudden, some guy comes up and he says, "You need some help?" And then I think, okay, here's my angel. And he ended up, he says, we were going to try to push the car, but her car, when the engine's off, even if it's in neutral, it's still, I couldn't get it to move because otherwise we could just push it out of the way of traffic, but it couldn't, we were stuck. So he says, look, maybe the quickest thing is just there's a station about a mile away. I got a gas can. I'm going to go get you some gas and come back. Okay. Now the beautiful thing about this is because we both calmed down, we're just kind of looking at each other, and she's kind of, looking like, oh my gosh, I saw it was running out of gas earlier, but I thought we'd get some and we didn't, So, okay. We had in the spare about 10 minutes, we had about 14 people that came by that says, hey, what can we do to help? Someone came out of their house and said, hey, what can we do to help? And we were realizing people in Marin here are super nice, that they were willing to help. And then some guy has a tow truck. He comes up and sees us. He's got gas on the tow truck. And so the other guy wasn't back yet. He jumps out, puts gas in our tank. And then the other guy gets there with his gas. And we said, thank you for helping. I gave him a hug. I said, you are an angel. I said, thank you. And Patty said, you guys are angels. You're so nice and everything like that. And then I gave the guy some money for his gas, and And the other guy who had got the gas, I tried to give him $10 and that, and he says, no, no, So that was a huge learning experience, which just we're in this crazy situation where people are honking. It's crazy. Okay, well, how about let's just chill? This is going to work out. And as soon as we did, then their help came and we were on our way. So people have had situations like
that. And that's the thing is I like the way that you said that you have a choice in how
Yeah.
you interact with this. Like I was saying that I've been really like it's it's been really interesting trying to keep my emotions in check here, as I'm negotiating a lot of what's going on around me. And, but it's been that moment where I had a choice. Do I go into victimhood or do I go into gratitude?
Yeah.
And we have so many choices. And Barbara, hi Barbara, how you doing? Thank you for being here. Okay, so she said here, she says, I have a she shed for my new sewing, and I'm waiting for my oldest daughter to move her crap. she gets a small space, but she's encroaching in my area. I just want to get organized and start creating. I totally can honor you in that moment. I totally can honor you in that moment. And sometimes, it's like boundaries. And I know for me, there's been
That's a
times
boundary
where
setting
I
moment.
put things in
Yeah.
a bag and I say, here it is. Do you want it or do you not want it? Because it's,
Well, there's so many ways of doing, like as a life coach, as we both are that way, there's different ways of handling it. And, we love our kids and all that, and they love us. So it's like trying to figure out the best way to do it so it's not mean and nasty, but it gets the point across. So I could picture her just, like you say, putting things in the bag and said, sweetheart, I'm cleaning all this out. We're in my way here. And I put things nicely here. And maybe you can reorganize it in part over here. Okay, thank you. Something like that. The worst thing to do would be to just, take someone's stuff and just throw it outside the shed and just say, I'm so pissed, blah, blah, did you, da, 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 and then that doesn't really help. But if you point out to the other person, look, I'm trying to be more organized now and your stuff's in the way a little bit. Please help me to get more organized by keeping your stuff neat in your one area there. And what I've done for now, because I'm organizing, I just put your stuff in one space, come in and organize it and we'll both be happy or something like that,
Exactly. And another thing that I've done is that I give people time.
Yeah.
Like
Good thing too.
within a week here, I'm giving you an idea that, and I want to respect that we have a mutual space here. And Barbara, if you're the one who's paying the rent and, and it's your space, you can say within a week, I need that space. This is something that I really have looked forward to for many years. Like I told someone recently, it's like, I raised kids. I did this, and this, and it's my turn. So, it's part of that coming into our truth that sometimes we need to say, hey, and at the same time, I'm hearing, someone else's crap is, if I see crap, somebody else sees treasures. So, we can't really necessarily put our intention off of what other people are, but we can say, hey, within a certain time. And I know that like I was telling my husband that there was a couch and that we got new couches, and that there's the old couch that was in the garage. And I said, by the time I get back from California, I really need to get in the garage. So can we take things to either the dump or recycling or whatever it is? And I cleaned things off of the couch to make sure that if he had the chance to get in there and do it, that he was able to do it. And he actually got rid of it. So then by the time I got home, I was able to get organized and clean things. And then I needed to take 3 more boxes to the thrift store. But, it is one of those things that I'm really learning the experience lately. You know how I changed that from a lesson? There's another change of the word. I had another experience of learning about communication. And that's the thing, is we can sit there and stew. We can, why isn't this happening? Why is it so hard? Why am I not reaching my goals? Well, have we started communicating better with the energies around us, i.e., either a person, an animal, the house, our goals, have we really set into intention about who are we and what we want to do? And, Barbara, like you say, yes, my turn, yes, but how do we get to that journey or our goal of it being my turn?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of relationships right now that are on the edge, and how we walk it's gentle. And I'm not saying that we should not have boundaries and some sternness, but what is the intention behind the sternness? What is the application of how we are communicating this idea?
Yeah.
How are we communicating this?
Some of these things that zap our energy are things that it's things that we have to rely on other people to do. Like, when in that storage area with that part there, that's not her mess, that's her daughter's mess, and so that's where to get rid of that negative energies pulling down. That's when you need to set boundaries and have a conversation with someone to do that. So once her daughter does that, she's going to feel like, oh, good, now I got my space back, because
Mhm.
that's something. I think about it now too. If you have like the daughter right now is in a sense breaking an agreement, because they both know it's kind of even doesn't need to be said that if you're going to store something in someone's thing, you're going to store it in a way that doesn't get in the way of the other person's stuff. And
You would hope that
you would
would
hope
be
that
an
happens, right.
you
But
would
when that
hope.
doesn't happen, then something needs to be said. Um, yeah, it's like oh my gosh, it's another time to mention, because it's one of the biggest lessons of my life that has helped me so many times. And I think I mentioned it last time, but it was when I was renting a house from somebody and we shared the kitchen. I just had one of the bedrooms when I was up in San Jose between. Um, so I rented a house for a few months, or rented a bedroom in a house. And I always thought of myself as being pretty, clean, like not leaving messes, that sort of thing. So I come home and there's a post-it on my bedroom door, and the person I'm there said, "There's crumbs on the counter," you know. And my first thing was, crumbs, like I was angry, like, how dare you. But then I started thinking about it, because this is a spiritual journey, and I think, okay, why did God have him put that on my door? And then I had this huge aha moment. It's like, when should I leave crumbs for another person to have to pick up? You know, I mean, it gets to that fine when you figure about spirituality and not encroaching, because we think, okay, I'm not leaving a bunch of dishes in the sink, okay, but it's just a couple crumbs, no big deal. He'll wipe them off or something. But and I wasn't even aware of the crumbs, that I wasn't like I saw them and just left them for him. But it's just how mindful we need to be to not encroach on somebody else's space. And when you think about it, when is it ever a good thing to tell someone else that they're responsible for cleaning up my crumbs even, so that shows just how, and that has helped me so much. And my son, who's staying with us for a while, Orion here,
Mhm.
he's good about that. And he told me one day, he says, well, I remember that story you told me, you know, about the crumbs and stuff. And he's like perfect, just cleans everything up, doesn't leave a mess, doesn't encroach on our space one iota, one bit, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, I had a conversation with my kid, and we were talking about getting angry and frustrated with other people. And like he said, there's been times where I really look when I'm frustrated, that I do not know if they have all the information. That
Yeah.
there's sometimes when somebody, like he was saying, I'm going to use his example, that there was a time at work where he works at a grocery store, and so somebody moved his end caps. He just got them done, and then somebody moved his end caps, and he was
What's an end cap?
frustrated. Yeah,
What's
he
an
was at a
end cap?
grocery. Oh, sorry.
What's an end cap?
An end cap would be like in your grocery store, and you have the ends of
Oh,
the aisles, and
the end of the aisle. Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, and so he was saying that he got frustrated and he was tired. He's been working a lot of hours, and so he's a little snippy at this one guy. But he thought, wait a minute, I don't have all the information. I don't have all the information. Let me go ask the guy that just put up the end cap why he did it. And he said, my boss told me to.
Oh, so it's good. Yeah. So before making judgments, it's good to have all the information, right?
Exactly. So going into this, and then he apologized to to a coworker about being snippety, and the coworker apologized because he knows that this is Scott's area. That I apologize, Scott, for not communicating well to you, and so there's that dance. And so Barbara said, in her home, is OCD about cleaning and
Uh,
etc. She's is OCD in her own home about clutter. Yeah, and that's the thing is that that's where I have to communicate. This is the home that I have, and I need it to be in my space. I need, and that's the thing is we can communicate that, because our own home, we're only responsible, but at the same time, when we're not in that other space, we're not thinking about it,
yeah.
we're not thinking about it. It's not in my forefront idea of tripping over something when I'm getting out of bed. It's actually in another space. And so that's where I say to people, by Friday, I would like this and this to be done. And then on Wednesday, I said, oh, do you
Yeah.
remember that by Friday, I was asking you to get that done? You know? And then on Thursday, what time are you coming over to get that done on Friday?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's not, it's that moment where we get busy, we forget, and time is time. Oh my gosh, I don't know how many people are feeling like I've had to wonder, did I do it in another dimension? Because time is like being really elusive and it's being weird. And
Yeah.
so, sometimes if it's important to me, I have to verbalize, by a certain time it needs to be done. And that's a kind boundary. And when we can have those kind boundaries, it's really helpful, because then when you go out on Friday or Saturday and you start moving things and she says, what are you doing? I gave you enough notification,
Right.
sweetie. I gave you enough notification. It is in a box and it's fine. It's sitting right here. I don't know if the weather is good, and so, you can not worry about rain, but, I put it over here, and then you can text her and say, hey, sweetie, you didn't get here by Friday, but I moved your stuff into the box. It's sitting right here. So if it's
Yeah.
outside, if you want to get it, you might want to come and get it.
Yeah.
And it's just
And
communication with care. It's communication
yeah,
with care.
right. And if you do it with care, then hopefully that ends up being a good lesson for the other person. Just like the person with the crumbs for me, that he did that.
Mhm.
It was a big lesson for me. So sometimes when we're bad at setting boundaries, a lot of times we are doing a disservice to the other people because we're not allowing them a teaching moment, for them to realize that they're doing something.
And
So
it's not a
that's
fun thing to be
hard.
the teacher.
Yeah, boundaries is I still have some difficulty with it. I'm a lot better than I used to be, but it's kind of a learning a learning curve there still.
But
Um,
there again, it's the journey and the goal. So Barbara, you do have a goal to make this area yours, and how can you have more joyfulness with that? And then that's where, you know we hold so many grudges against our children, we hold so many grudges against our roommates, we hold so many grudges against our coworkers and that kind of thing, that if we can actually have better communication, it heals a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm always like, I always say, I'm over communicating here, but I want to make sure people know, you
Yeah.
know,
Well,
and I'll even name it. Hey, I'm over communicating because, some people get a little bit tired of that, but it's like, hey, I just want to make sure that everybody's on the same
yeah.
page.
Now, there's one thing just to watch out for, because you don't want to switch one stress for another, is to become too militant in everything having to be a certain way. Because then the fact is that all of a sudden you see something that's not just perfect, and there's that same stress, but a different stress, but the same amount of stress that you had when things were a mess. So there's finding that balance of having everything clean and orderly so that you can be happy and relaxed. And if something kind of goofs up a little bit there, just quickly taking care of it, but not with a negative energy, that way, because that way you're defeating the whole purpose, because why swap one set of negative emotions for get rid of those to pick on a whole new set by being too angry or military like if somebody forgets to clean a little thing or something, that way.
Exactly, because we're not in other people's lives. And I remember when I had to live with my grandma in a trailer for a little while, and she ended up cleaning the trailer for me, and I did not want her to do that. But
Oh yeah.
between me moving out into an apartment, trying to get my apartment, dealing with my ex-husband the way I was dealing with him, it's like I didn't really get back and do what I wanted to do. And being young like I wasn't in a hurry. you know and there was just a lot of things that were going on, and I felt so bad that my grandma had to clean it for me. And so, but that was a huge lesson,
Yeah.
because I never left things like that again, because it's a story. So Paula, thank you for coming back. And yeah, we were talking about goals and the experiences of how to work through certain situations when we're in the middle of learning how to get from point A to point B. And so Barbara, yes, I wanted to design my space. And why shouldn't you want to design your space? So there again, if you set up boundaries with time, and give enough notification, if they choose not to heed that notification, then it's their experience to learn and a lesson. And if we do it loving and kindly, then you can still have a relationship with a kid, you know.
Well, I know there's been studies about um, testing people's stress levels when they're, for instance, when their office is a complete mess and they're working with papers and everything all over, and the amount of stress that their body feels, their cortisol levels, and when everything's in its right place. And they've been able to prove that, look, if part of your goals is to have less stress and all that, then you need to have you need to have things orderly, because and think about all the energy sometimes we spend when we go, oh, okay, where are the scissors? Oh God, I had them, instead of having them back in the same place. I'm getting pretty good about that, like, except for the tools. So that's what I'm working on right now, so putting everything back. But I do put a lot, like, sometimes like tape. You don't need it very often, but there's a place that we've both agreed on in this thing here. Okay, this is where the tape goes. Now this is tape and scissors and rubber bands and everything. So we all know when we need those things that exactly where to go.
Where to go.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we have house people that come out a couple times a month to help us with house cleaning and stuff. And we've had people, as we change different people, they don't know where all how the silverware is arranged, which plates go where and everything. So, we just rearrange the little things after they go. It's a little easier than trying to, teach them all those things.
Exactly. And another idea for you, Barbara, is, if you're waiting for that to start organizing, I would actually start doing other organizing so your daughter sees that you're in the mode. So that
Yeah,
when you say, by such and such date, I'm going to get to this scenario, so that she sees that you're already in the intention, as an idea for you too. So because I'm an action, is it helps people to see what my intention is, and that
yeah.
can be helpful.
So maybe today we can tell people there's a little thing of making their life less stressful, to go room to room and just kind of look at everything and go, oh my gosh, that's out of place. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that's been bugging me for a long time. Just make a list and don't let yourself be overwhelmed, because you're not going to have to do it all at once. And then just pick 2 or 3 things a day or a week, have that list around and just kind of cross them off as you go. It just, as you cross something off, your stress level just goes down. Wow, this is great. I just took care of these 3
And
things.
that's the thing is the journey of life is 1 foot at a time, one
Yes.
step at a time. People try to make leaps and bounds, and it's like you still got to do 1 step at a time. And what is the intention? What is the purpose of us doing this? And we're going through, and I know for me, as I'm cleaning up, I change my environment, change my world. So how can I clean up my old stories in my house to set me into a better intention for my future? Because we have to move our old stories forward so that we can move forward in our life, right? So Paula
Yeah.
says, spent a few days with friends and they all go to bed at 9. I'm a night owl, so I became a fairy of gratitude.
Yeah, I have that too. I'm a night owl too, so I have to find ways when I'm visiting or with people and that to make sure that I'm, if they're in bed and everything, if I'm watching TV or something, to have it low enough so I'm not bothering them and all that and stuff too. But you could be creative, a way and find a way. A couple times when I forget even when this was, but I just remember they went to bed real early, like 8 o'clock or 9 or something like that. And so since I was a night owl and I didn't want to disturb it, it was a small space. I just, went to a movie, went to a late movie, and then, came back and, it was okay.
I like that. Paula says that instead of going to bed like everybody else, she says, I did the dishes, cleaned the bathroom, but I did some random things like lube the squeaky door. I love you.
The
Good
people were
job,
happy about
Paula.
that. We'll
I
have
didn't
to
want
do
to wake them
part of
or
this.
their dogs, and so I went to the car. Yeah.
We'll have to do a part of a show on that, on day people, night people, because it causes a lot of stress for a lot of people, because
Mhm.
in a sense, we all think everybody has to be just like us. Again, it's that thing about, nope, there's the us vampires that stay up late, and then there's the other people, you know.
Yeah,
Not well.
I'm learning how to be a little bit more of an early person, though. I'm naturally
I am
starting to wake
too.
up around 7 o'clock, and I know that I have to go to bed in order to get up at the 7 o'clock time frame.
Yeah. Well, I've been in one of my drawers. I've just been throwing change in it for years, and and it's because I don't want it on my thing, so I just open the drawer and throw change in there. So I uh, finally got to cleaning that out. Got to junk that I've just thrown in there because I don't want to see it, And then I got into it, and I put all the stuff together, and then I got plastic bags where I put all the quarters together, the dimes and everything. Like, I had $140 in change, and I went, wow, that's pretty cool. That was a pretty good reward for cleaning that out and thinking, wow, I've got 140 bucks in change. That shows you how long it's been since I cleaned that drawer. But it felt good, and now everything's organized in there where all the coins are organized. So if I take it to the bank or do something, and I counted it all and wrote it, so I know how many things to get to roll them or whatever. So I still got to do that, but that felt pretty good. But what we're trying to emphasize today is that we always have goals, we have journeys, we have things that has to be done, and we really do choose our attitude, and we can do it the hard way or we can do it the easy way. When you decide to do it the easy way by kind of doing it with spirit, by doing it with love, you're going to be darn surprised at how smoothly things go and how you get help that you wouldn't have got if you were in a negative mode. It reminds me of a story I learned when I was going to my wife's church back in my second wife's church when it was back in Sacramento. Very great church, even though I'm kind of in everything, I'm all religions. So, but they had a pretty good church. And someone told a story about St. Francis of Assisi, how he'd be in the thing there and people would go by and he's peeling potatoes, just mounds and mounds and mounds of potatoes because to feed all the monks, and he's whistling and smiling and everything. And they couldn't understand, how the heck does he do that? He's doing that. And they would say he would take some of the dirtiest jobs in the whole thing and he'd always be smiling and all that. And when they asked St. Francis, he just said, it's just because I do everything with love. I've decided, it doesn't matter if I'm peeling potatoes or cleaning toilets or doing whatever, I'm doing it and I'm putting my mind on Jesus. I'm, doing it that way. There's another guy wrote a book about that. It was about practicing the presence. And he was a modern day monk in a monastery. And people would come from hundreds of miles away just to talk to him to find out, how does he stay so happy all the time? And he was just saying, it's a choice. You just when you decide you're going to connect yourself with Jesus, with God, and you just make the choice. I'm going to do everything no matter what. And that makes me happy about myself or something, because what I decided to do when I've had a serious relationship is anytime my wife would ask me to do something, I decided early on that I'm going to, whatever it is, even if she says, can I ask you to do something? Before she even tells me what it was, I'm going to say, yes, I'd be happy. What do you need me to do? No matter how hard, what everything it was, I would always say yes, because I know my partner respects me enough. She's not going to do something that wouldn't be something she would be asking me to do, in a bad way, they need help. So, why make that and then say, okay, just decide ahead of time, you're just going to do it because, I think that's really helped me to keep the relationship in a good place, says whatever it is, just tell me what it is. I don't care. And then, since I've decided that, even if it's something that's not particularly fun to do, or I've got to run an errand when I'd rather be going golfing today or doing something like that, it makes me feel good about myself, that way. And I go, good for you, because I know that's the way relationships should be.
Exactly. And then I want to add on too, that there is a boundary, that if somebody always has a list and nobody has time to breathe and go play golf and that kind of stuff, that's where we can speak up. Hey, I'll do the list tomorrow, but right now, today, since I've already done my list, that I'm going to actually go golfing. And I hope that everything that was going to be put off today can be waiting till tomorrow.
Yeah,
is there anything important that needs to be done right now?
Yeah. And Patty knows that when she's seen me busy with clients and busy doing things, and she knows how much I love golfing and that I need time for myself. So a lot of times I'll just go, I'm thinking of going golfing today. She goes, great, you need to go, and it makes me feel good because, that's part of me balancing myself out.
Mm-hmm. And we all need those moments.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, and that's that turning into when we get kind of that bogged down moment. What can we, as the human that we are, because everybody has something that they find that is joyful. Reading a book, sitting in the sun, going out and weeding, I go dancing, that there's these different things that people do. You go golfing, my husband goes golfing,
Hey, maybe we've done that session before, but it'd be good for maybe next month or something, is to talk about this, how the healthy relationships, how they find a way to balance personal time with together time, and different night schedules, different work schedules and all that. And because that's one thing that creates a lot of issues with people, that way.
So Paula asks real quick, what happens if you slip into victimhood initially and then realize and change the attitude?
Oh, okay. Falling into victimhood is generally the default mode of most of us people. It's the thing that kind of comes up first. So don't feel bad about that. In other words, once you're there, but being mindful and being a spiritual person, when you feel yourself feeling that, there's that other part of you that's beside you that says, okay, you felt that way for a minute now, just get over it and let's just change. And then you just change and you just decide. But it's even being kind, I mean, that's what when I was in the afterlife and found out that my whole purpose in this lifetime was to practice selflessness, instead of selfishness. That sticker that I saw that I tell people all the time, said on the show a number of times, that kindness is love with work boots on, and you realize that sometimes it takes a little more effort to be kind than to be selfish, that way.
Well,
So
yeah, it's a thing. And Paula says, does a little bit of victimhood harm the vibration? And I'm going to say no, because
yeah,
I know, for me, being a double Cancerian, I have a lot of emotions that swim around in me. And, you know, going through what I've been going through, that I've had to make sure that I don't stuff my emotions down. Like, I had a friend that was helping me one time when I was down in California, and she wonderfully said, "Natasha, I see all these emotions sitting right back here in the back of your head. You haven't processed through them. You've stifled your emotions when other people have been talking or doing or saying things." And it's like, so no, it's okay to be in victimhood for a minute or two or five.
yeah,
And then, and that's the thing, is about any emotion, it's like a spoke in a wheel. All emotions need to be, but the wheel needs to keep moving. It's if we stay in victimhood, if we stay in harm,
yeah,
if we
that's where you
stay
go when you choose to stay in it. When you're in it momentarily, because that's our default. The thing with mindfulness and that is you realize you're there, and then you decide, as the wheel's moving, okay, instead of me spending this much of the wheel in victimhood, I'm just going to spend that much in there. Or it could have been, if I hadn't been mindful, I've spent the whole day or weeks, in victimhood, that way. So, and then like what you would say, that, I've told this so many times, and it's such a good phrase, Natasha, that you've taught us all, is to tell yourself, you could say, okay, even though I was selfish for a moment, okay, I love you, self. I know I'm perfectly imperfect. It's okay. Let's just get back on the wagon and move forward in a positive vein now, and
Mhm.
then you're good. And then you feel good. Actually, it's kind of nice, because when you feel that way and then you change and you realize you've changed and now you're doing that, that's actually a learning moment. And that's a moment when you can feel good about yourself and you can realize that you are progressing in towards love,
Mhm.
rather than the other way.
And like Barbara says, grieving totally a lot. And I can tell you, I've been in that moment too, where,
What
like,
have you been doing?
grieving, and so grieving and that kind of stuff. And I can tell you that there's been a lot of heavy emotions around lately, and grief has been part of them, and that kind of thing. And there's been times where it's like, I've tried to say, okay, here I am, grief or whatever, and say, hi, how are you, thank you for being here. And sometimes we are just in a moment where we have to process through what we're going through. Dig in some dirt, get that frustration out, be physical about the physical emotions. And
Yeah,
that can usually help. I know I went to the ocean when I was down in California, and there were some big rocks in the water, because it was the expression. And that's the thing, is that, yeah, there's times when it's an easy emotion that we can just, go high. And then there's going to be other times where it's like, it's a little bit deeper and we need to spend a little more time with it. We need to spend a little bit more time with victimhood and do a meditation with victimhood and say, why are you here? Who are you truly?
yeah,
Oh, you are the 3-year-old that didn't get her way. Okay. Thank you, 3-year-old, for being here with me. And let's do some work. Oh, wait a minute. 6-year-old is still attached with the victimhood too. Okay. And there's just a lot of these things that right now, with what do we have? Two planets in retrograde right now. I think it's Saturn and Uranus, and then we have Mercury going into retrograde. So there's a lot of these old stories. I had a mantra last week or month about, I'm done with my negative stories, because it is about how do we work. But I'm going to tell you that sometimes we have to spend a few minutes And this could be a day, this can be hours, this could be, sometimes I try to give 24 hours in that deep down boom, moment. I give 24 hours. You have 24 hours, boom, to be in it. And then it's like, okay, how can I do that? But in that 24 hours, I'm careful who I talk to. I'm careful of what emotion that I'm giving to others. I'm careful about how I'm spewing myself. I'm careful about my intentions with myself and my language. I'm careful with a lot of things in that moment so I can honor the emotion, honor the being, honor who I am, and keep going forward in where I want to be. And sometimes it is like I smudged myself before I came on today because I've been carrying a lot of stuff, and I'm like, what is it that I'm still carrying? And so I decided to smudge myself so that I can move forward. And when you're dealing with grief, when you're dealing with victimhood, when you're dealing with a lot, it's a deeper emotion that sometimes we have to interact with just a little bit longer. But there again, keep it moving. We
Yeah,
cannot just sit on a chair and just grieve. I mean, you got to keep it moving. Emotions are about movement. Go for a walk, pet a dog, do something. I go dancing. That's
yeah.
my go-to.
That's, for a lot of people, movement is what even that's one of the things now as a therapist, when I have people come in, they're depressed, I try to get them moving. I said, depression isn't just one thing. It's part, some of it's in your body, some of it's in, your depression is caused by your diet, what you're putting in your body. A lot of it's attitude. But one of the things for sure that I encourage them to do, even if it's just to get out and walk for a little while, because that physical movement or something like that helps balance the body, when you're trying to balance the physical body.
I've been taking showers in the morning because I use castor oil. And I usually put a little castor oil on my liver and spleen and kind of get my gut going. But I usually take a shower, and then sometimes when I'm kind of stuck, I take a cold shower. And
Yeah, they say cold showers are good. They're saying cold showers are great for you now.
yeah, because I noticed that it kind of shakes me up, and it really gets my liver kind of in a different process, so that my gallbladder and liver, which are the organs that represent emotions and stories, and so the liver and the spleen. And so going into that, when you kind of can shake things up, stay off the sugars. That will help get your D's, your B's, and a lot of that kind of stuff. But even me sticking up with those, me smudging myself, and then doing something with a higher vibration. I came on my show, I'll put on
Yeah,
music. I will do something that brings a different vibration up so that I can be my better self. Like I was really low one time and I felt a heaviness on my chest. So what did I do? I asked, who should I call? And I called a girlfriend, and she heard me. And then I felt better because I was
that
able to
helps.
process it through verbalization without anybody judging me.
Yeah, that happens. I have a lot of clients sometimes they'll just call me. We'll just do a quick phone session because they just need to talk to somebody. And most of the time after we talk, they go, man, I just feel so much better now, because it's getting that out. I wanted to, because I know we're getting close to ending, but I wanted to end with, I wish I had memorized the poem, but I'll give you the gist of it. And I've mentioned it a few times on the show over the years, but it's just something I think about all the time. As a Rumi poem. And he's talking about, you have your teacher, your guide that's on this wagon. It's a flatbed wagon and we're all on it. And it's going down these roads, and every once in a while hits this bumpy thing, and some people fall off into the mud, you know, and the teacher keeps moving forward with the wagon, and he's looking back and lovingly saying, come on, get back on, come on, in a loving way. Some people just choose to stay in the mud, and so by the time they get out of the mud, it's so hard for them to catch up to that wagon. But I'm thinking it's like, if that analogy of sometimes that road gets bumpy, we fall off into the mud. But the way you can tell that you're progressing spiritually is how quickly you get up, brush yourself off, and jump back on the wagon before it's too far down the road.
Mhm.
And as you put more attention on love in that in your life, and you choose to be happy, you choose the glass half full instead of empty. Um, it's great because you find yourself falling off in the mud, and before the wagon is 20 feet away, boom, you're back up on it, moving forward. So
Exactly. Exactly. What a great segue, because I know for me that that is why we're on here, is to get back up. And I know for me that I've had some energies that have been trying to dim my light. And so what does that tell me? It's time for me to shine brighter.
yeah,
And so sometimes, even though I have victimhood, or I have grief, or I have that, I shine a light. I shine a light in my heart center, and I shield myself from the darkness that's out there. And today, tomorrow, wherever you're at, emotions are part of this dance. And I can tell you that they're thick right now. And I know all these emotions that I'm feeling aren't just mine. There's other people's, and I have to discern the difference between what are my emotions and what are somebody else's.
mm-hmm.
And this is a mantra that I've used, and it was given to me by one of my teachers. Is that and Mother Mary, that what's yours is yours, what somebody else's is somebody else's. What stands between me is what I believe in. God, light of love, whatever it is. So mine is mine, yours is yours. I honor you for what you are. I honor me for what I am, but I'm going to stand with something between you. And even me just saying that, I'm feeling lighter.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm feeling lighter, and my chest area energy is moving around. So what's yours is yours. I honor you. What's mine is mine. I honor me. And what stands between us is love and guidance. And it could be angels. It could be whatever a filter of goodness. It could be whatever you want. And that's a good mantra to use right now. I really get that, because I even felt different doing that. So
Yeah.
I hope this show helped. I really, that's
Enjoy
Regan
it.
and I. Yeah, Regan's and my intention for the show is to remember that your truth is your truth. These are just perspectives and understandings that we've gained through our time and guided to speak of. And we really want people to find their light and a little more joyfulness in their story, because, oh my gosh, the circus that the life is not necessarily the circus that I need to be in. And so how can we discern our own understanding? It's not about putting blinders on, but it's about putting filters on.
Yeah. That's it.
So how do people get a hold of you, Regan?
Okay. Oh, I want to invite, those that are watching today, my website. It's been new for about a month or two, but it's got a lot of information on the afterlife over there, a lot of videos. There's a section on past life regression with some great videos on that. There's one on traditional hypnotherapy, and then on there they can look at videos on all this energy psychology, which helps people get through past traumas, any negative crap that's been holding on to them for years. It's ways of getting rid of it rather quickly, with tapping or havening or EMDR. All these different things help. There's a few people I had recently that have severe traumas in their life, and they're relatively, or they're starting to have a semblance of normalcy in their lives now. And we all do it on Zoom, which is great, helping them that way. But go to there, watch, and especially watch the ones on the life between life process. That's where I help you reach a deep state of trance, which most people reach, and you get to spend a couple hours in the afterlife. It's like having a near-death experience without the death part. So safe, no drugs are used, and it could be done on Zoom or in person. There's 250 of us doing this in 46 countries now, just past the 70,000 mark a few months ago of people that we've had have this miraculous experience. And lately, the last 3 or 4 sessions I've done have been gangbusters, or whatever you want to call it. Just, the amount of healing that they had, when they found out about their missions, how they're doing their life, why they're having their difficulties, and also because we get them a health check over there, and they've been able to find out what they've been doing to make themselves sick and how to reverse it, which is great. So anyway, lots of videos there, and I'm here to help either online or for people in person. I did a session last night for a young man in his 30s, and he was in Boston, I believe. So it's right across the country. He spent about 3 hours over there, and boy, oh boy, did he get answers. Especially, he comes from a country that has a very strict caste system, and he's found an American girl that he's in love with, and the parents want to disown him, and because of the caste system, and so he's having to choose between his family, which he loves dearly, and the woman that he loves.
Ow. Yeah, but
Uh,
that's finding our own truth. And that's what we're in right now. We're in this destruction for creation. And
yeah,
oh my gosh, I'm in awe of seeing the steps that each individual has to take to get there.
yeah. On the other side, he was able to talk to the higher self of his mom, the higher self of his dad, who are people still alive in his life, talk to their soul selves, and to this woman that he's in love with. And he got lots of information. And I told him it's all recorded. He said it was so confusing because he was getting so much information. And I said, I can't make the decision for you. This is something that you need to do for your soul growth. And he understood that. So he's going to listen to it all and then make the hard choice, what's going to be. So anyway,
Mhm.
what about you now? I know you're at intuitiveclarifications.com, right?
Yes, my website is changed up to intuitiveclarifications.com. I am here to support people going through the grieving process or the story process, or how are we breaking through, how are we dealing with emotions? What are we doing in this 3D body moving into our spiritual walk? And I do that through past lives, seeing different dimensions, negotiating the story, because I do kind of understand emotions being a double Cancerian. So going into this, I really would like to support people in their life's journey. And you can reach me at intuitiveclarifications.com. So thank you, Regan. We are here, or I am here on Wednesdays at 4 o'clock Pacific time. If I don't have a guest, I'm also live on Instagram. I'm so grateful for everybody who shows up, Paula, Barbara, Veronica, whoever else
Yeah,
popped in
sure.
and I didn't see. Thank you for being here. If you know somebody who likes podcasts, this will be put on to most podcast platforms after this. So if you know of somebody who would like to watch this, and please like and share if you know of anybody who can really listen to see this and they're in a situation. Please share the information if you would like to. So blessings, everyone. Thank you, Regan, for being here. You are normally here the third Wednesday of the month. This
I know.
month was a little
I
bit
have,
wonky.
yeah. So I think I've got you down for the. Oh my gosh, I'm just thinking, is it the second or third Thursdays? This is
When
awful.
it's it would be the third, so that would be like the 21st.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I will see everybody next week,
Okay.
and I hope that my minute to 2 minute videos are supporting you, and may everybody know that you're loved, no matter who you are and the choices you're making.
Yeah, and maybe next show too, I'll give you an update on this healing machine that I have, the Monocore, that I have 2 people with incurable diseases that are on, and we're seeing some pretty good positive change. It's this
Yeah.
whole new way of healing through frequency healing.
Oh,
Um,
it's huge right now. It is so huge.
it is, yeah. We're learning that everything has a frequency, and if you fix the frequencies, the diseases go away. My brother-in-law is going to be here for 3 weeks. He has Parkinson's, and we're going to be on it every day. See if we can make a thing.
Oh, may miracles happen. May miracles happen.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see.
Okay.
Anyway,
Bye,
something
everybody.
people should know about. So see everybody next time.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.